You won't believe how far someone can go to destroy you, but the real shock comes when their efforts backfire. There is a reason you clicked on this video. There is a reason you have been feeling that strange, heavy pressure in your chest lately. You might have brushed it off as stress, or maybe you told yourself you were just being paranoid. But deep down in your gut, you knew something was wrong. That wasn't paranoia. That was your intuition screaming at you. It was warning you that the atmosphere around you had shifted. Here is the hard truth you need to hear right now. There are people who hate you simply because of your light. You haven't done anything to them. You haven't wronged them. In fact, you have probably helped them, supported them, or prayed for them. It doesn't matter. They despise everything about your existence. You see, when you are a chosen one, your spirit shines at a frequency that irritates people living in darkness. It's not about what you say or do. It is about who you are. Your light acts like a mirror. When they look at you, they don't see you. They see a reflection of their own failures, their own lack of integrity, and their own unhealed trauma. Your very presence forces them to face the demons they have been hiding from, and instead of fixing themselves, they decided it was easier to try and break you. But this time, it went beyond just jealousy or bad looks across the room. One person, someone you might least expect, spent days or even weeks plotting your actual destruction. This wasn't just gossip at the water cooler or a mean comment on social media. This was calculated. This was spiritual warfare. They performed a death ritual on you, thinking they could take your life, but what happened next was something even they couldn't have foreseen. Chosen one. Before we go deeper, pause for a moment. If this message is already speaking to your spirit, don't just watch silently. Subscribe now so you don't miss the confirmations God sends your way. You know how the enemy tries to distract you right when you need a word the most. They wanted you gone, not just silenced, but removed from the equation entirely. They looked at your life, your potential, your blessings, the way favor seems to naturally follow you, and it drove them into an obsession. They couldn't stand the fact that no matter what obstacles were thrown your way, you kept rising. So, they decided to take matters into their own hands. They turned to the dark arts, seeking a way to manipulate energy, to stop your heart or ruin your life permanently. They thought they had all the pieces lined up perfectly. They moved in silence, hiding their hands, smiling in your face while holding a dagger behind their back. They truly believed they had the power to dictate your end. They spent money, time, and energy setting a trap they were sure you would walk right into. But here is the thing they forgot. You are not just a regular person. You are protected by something far older and far stronger than any ritual they could buy. By the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why their plan failed. I'm going to reveal the specific name of the spiritual law that triggered the moment they came for you. A law that didn't just block the attack, but sent it crashing back onto their own heads. You need to understand this mechanism so you can stop living in fear and start walking in your authority. They thought they were hunting prey, but they didn't realize they were waking up a lion. What they did in the dark has already been handled in the light, and the fallout is happening right now. Before you ever saw a single sign of this attack in the physical world, your body felt the war happening in the spiritual world. You see, spirits operate outside of time, but your body lives within it. Your physical vessel is the most sensitive radar system in existence. Long before the person plotting against you even finished speaking their curse, your spirit picked up on the frequency of danger. You might not have had the words for it then, but looking back now, you will recognize the pattern. The atmosphere around you changed. The air felt thicker. It wasn't just stress or a bad week. It was a targeted siege on your energy field. When a death ritual is performed, it sends out a specific, heavy vibration intended to crush the target. Because you are a chosen one, someone naturally sensitive to energy, you absorb the initial shockwaves. If you have been wondering if you are crazy or if you are imagining things, this chapter is your confirmation. These are not coincidences. These are the 7 specific biological and environmental alarms your protection system triggered to warn you. 1. The unexplained fatigue. The first and most common sign was an exhaustion that sleep could not cure. I'm not talking about being tired from a long day at work. I'm talking about a sudden, crushing heaviness that made your limbs feel like lead. You could sleep for 10 hours and wake up feeling like you had been running a marathon all night. This happens because, in the spiritual realm, your soul was fighting. While your conscious mind was resting, your spirit was engaged in hand-to-hand combat with the dark entities sent to drain you. The ritual was designed to siphon your vitality, literally leaching the life force out of you to power the attacker's intentions. You might have found yourself needing naps during the day or feeling a brain fog so dense you couldn't focus on simple tasks. That wasn't laziness. That was spiritual depletion from holding up a shield you didn't even know you were carrying. 2. Electronic interference. Then came the glitches. You need to understand that spirits are essentially energy, forms of electricity and frequency. When a strong demonic projection is sent your way, it disrupts the electromagnetic fields around you. You might have noticed your phone acting up, freezing, or shutting down despite having a full battery. Maybe your Wi-Fi signal dropped constantly when you were the only one in the house, or light bulbs flickered or blew out way faster than they should. This is a classic sign of high-voltage negative energy entering your space. The chaos inside the attacker's mind was being projected onto your environment, causing a literal short circuit in the technology around you. 3. Spontaneous breaking of glass. Alongside the electronics, you may have experienced the terrifying phenomenon of glass breaking. Mirrors, cups, or picture frames falling and shattering without anyone touching them. In spiritual warfare, glass often represents the barrier between dimensions. When a curse is sent with high intensity, especially a death ritual, it hits your home's protection like a battering ram. If a glass object exploded or cracked near you, take it as a sign of protection. That object took the hit for you. It absorbed the frequency of the blow so that your body wouldn't have to. It wasn't clumsy behavior, it was a kinetic discharge of the weapon formed against you. 4. The nightmare scenarios. When your conscious mind is awake, your logical brain can dismiss these feelings. But when you sleep, your subconscious is wide open. This is why the attack often moved into your dreams. You may have started having vivid, terrifying nightmares. The themes are almost always the same for chosen ones under this specific type of ritual. Dreams of snakes waiting to strike, dreams of falling from great heights, or being chased by faceless figures you couldn't escape. These weren't just bad dreams, they were intel. The snakes represent the hidden enemies, the ones smiling in your face while biting your back. The being chased dreams were your spirit alerting you that a predator was on the hunt. 5. Sudden anxiety spikes. Perhaps the most unsettling sign was the waves of panic that hit you out of nowhere. You could be sitting on your couch, watching TV, perfectly safe, and suddenly your heart would start racing. Your chest would tighten, and a feeling of impending doom would wash over you. This is what we call spirit sensing danger. Just like a dog barks before it sees the intruder, your spirit was reacting to the presence of the ritual before it arrived at your door. That anxiety wasn't a mental health crisis. It was your internal alarm system ringing off the hook, screaming, "Brace for impact." 6. Unexplained physical pains. Many victims of death rituals report strange migrating pains in the body. You might have felt a sharp, stabbing pain in your back, literally the stab in the back manifesting physically. Others report a tightness in the throat, the chakra of truth being suppressed, or severe headaches that feel like a tight band around the skull. These aches have no medical cause. You go to the doctor, and they say you are fine. That is because the source isn't biological. It is energetic. The ritual was trying to find a weak point in your armor to settle into your physical vessel. 7. Isolation and relationship shifts. Finally, the ritual aimed to get you alone. You might have noticed friends suddenly acting cold, distant, or pulling away for no reason. Misunderstandings flared up over nothing. People who usually support you became irritated by you. This is the divide and conquer tactic. The dark energy sent against you acts like a repellent, pushing away your support system so that you are vulnerable and isolated when the final blow is meant to land. If you felt like you were suddenly walking alone, it wasn't because you were unloved. It was because the enemy wanted you unguarded. Do you feel like something's been weighing you down lately? Like someone's been watching you? Drop a 444 in the comments if you've been feeling a strange, unexplained pressure in your life lately. It is time to acknowledge it so we can break it. While you were struggling with those unexplained symptoms, the fatigue, the anxiety, the electronics glitching, something much darker was happening behind closed doors. You might assume that this person just wished you bad luck in their head, but I need you to understand the level of premeditation involved here. This wasn't a fleeting thought. This was a structured, paid-for operation designed to dismantle your life. It started with a photograph. They didn't just pick any random picture of you from social media. They scrolled past the blurry ones, the group shots, and the serious ones. They were looking for something specific. They hunted for the photo where your energy was undeniable. You know the one. The picture where your smile was genuine, where your eyes were sparkling, and where your light shone the brightest. To you, that photo is a memory of a happy day. To them, it was a target. In the world of dark rituals, a photograph acts as a spiritual coordinate. It is the GPS for the curse. By focusing on that image, they created a direct link to your soul. They needed an image that captured your essence because they wanted to make sure the energy didn't miss. They wanted to attack the very thing that makes you special, your joy and your divine spark. But the person who hates you knew they weren't powerful enough to break you on their own. They knew your spirit was too strong for their petty jealousy. So they outsourced the job, they went looking for help in the shadows, they found a practitioner, a witch willing to do whatever it took to fulfill a death ritual for a price. This wasn't a healer or a guide, this was a spiritual mercenary. The transaction was cold and calculated. Money changed hands, your name was written down, and that smiling photo was placed in the center of an altar you will never see. The ritual began exactly at midnight. It wasn't a one-time event. It was a 7-day siege designed to break down your defenses layer by layer. For the first 3 nights, the attacks were subtle. This corresponds to when you might have started feeling that brain fog or slight irritation. In the candlelit room, they whispered incantations designed to bind you. They wanted to tie your hands spiritually so you couldn't fight back. They focused on confusion, trying to cloud your judgment so you wouldn't recognize the danger approaching. They called out your name into the dark, moonless sky, commanding your spirit to submit. Then came nights 4 through 6. This is when the intensity ramped up. The witch began adding darker elements to the fire, specific herbs known for toxicity and destruction, black candles, and heavy, suffocating incense. They may have even used dark offerings or sacrifices to feed the entity they were summoning. This was the phase intended to bring sickness and ruin. This is likely when you felt the physical pain or the terrifying nightmares. They were bombarding your spirit with heavy, necrotic energy, trying to rot your protection from the outside in. They were relentless, repeating the chants, feeding the fire, and staring at your photo with pure malice. Finally, Night 7 arrived, the culmination. This was the night of the death blow. The goal was no longer just to make you sick or confused, it was to finish you. The practitioner invoked the most aggressive spirits they had access to, directing all that built-up negative energy straight at your heart. They poured every ounce of hatred, every dollar paid, and every dark prayer into one final strike. By the next morning, the ritual was complete. The candles were burned down to wax puddles, the ashes were cleared, and the person who paid for it all? They sat back and waited. They thought they had done it. They thought they had all the pieces lined up perfectly. They were checking their phone, waiting for the news. They were expecting to hear that you had been hospitalized, that you had lost your job, or that you had simply collapsed. They watched your social media, waiting for the silence that would confirm your destruction. They were celebrating your downfall before it even happened, completely unaware that the silence they were hearing wasn't your defeat, It was the calm before the storm that was about to hit them. Listen, I know you're watching quietly, just taking everything in, but chosen ones like you don't come across these messages by accident. If this is touching your soul, hit that subscribe button. Don't keep walking through spiritual warfare alone when a whole family of chosen ones is right here with you. Here is where the story changes. Here is where the enemy made their fatal miscalculation. On that final night, as the witch screamed the last curse and threw the negative energy toward you, they expected it to land. They expected to see your life crumble, but instead of hitting you, that dark energy slammed into a wall. It didn't hit a physical wall. It hit a spiritual fortification so dense and so powerful that the attack didn't just stop, it shattered. You need to understand that what saved you wasn't luck, it wasn't a coincidence, and it wasn't because you just happened to have a good day. You were saved because you have an active, intelligent, divine protection system operating around your life 24/7. The person who attacked you thought you were just an individual walking alone. They looked at you and saw a regular person. But they failed to check your spiritual clearance. They didn't realize that you are walking under a heavy, impenetrable covering that has been in place long before you were even born. This is the secret they missed. Your protection is ancestral. Think about your bloodline for a second. Think about your grandmother, your great-grandfather, or that one relative who always had a prayer on their lips. Years ago, maybe 50 or 100 years before you took your first breath, someone in your lineage made a covenant with the divine. They got on their knees and prayed for their children and their children's children. They asked for a hedge of protection to be placed around their bloodline. They didn't know your name yet, but they prayed for you. They locked in a security system that doesn't expire, so when this modern-day enemy tried to attack you with a store-bought ritual, they weren't just fighting you. They were fighting the prayers of your ancestors. They were trying to break a contract that was signed in blood and tears generations ago. That is a battle they can never win. The energy they sent was designed to pierce your soul, but the moment it touched your aura, it encountered what the ancients call a wall of fire. It is a defense mechanism that lies dormant until it is threatened. It doesn't just block attacks, it neutralizes them. When that dark spell made contact with your divine shield, it was instantly incinerated. It's like throwing an ice cube into a furnace. The ice doesn't stand a chance. It evaporates before it even touches the coals. That is exactly what happened to the curse sent your way. The witch and the person who hired her were waiting for an explosion in your life, but the only thing that exploded was their plan. Your protection system identified the threat, categorized it as unauthorized, and annihilated it on impact. You woke up the next morning, drank your coffee, and went about your day, completely unaware that a spiritual assassin had just been disarmed at your doorstep. You walked through the fire without even smelling like smoke, because you are covered, you are sealed, and you are strictly off limits. If you believe that your protection is stronger than any force of darkness, type 444 in the comments. You are divinely protected. The most dangerous thing about playing with dark energy is that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. When that death ritual hit your divine protection and found no way in, it didn't just vanish into thin air. It didn't simply evaporate. It had to go somewhere. The universe operates on laws of balance, similar to physics. For every action, there is a reaction. But in the spiritual realm, when an unauthorized attack strikes a divinely protected individual, the reaction isn't equal, it is multiplied. This is what we call the boomerang effect, or the spiritual law of return to sender. Imagine pulling back a rubber band as far as it can go. You aim it at a target, putting all your strength and tension into it. But instead of hitting the target, the rubber band snaps back and hits your own hand. That is exactly what happened to your enemy. The more hatred they poured into the ritual, the more tension they created. The harder they tried to destroy you, the harder the blow was when it returned to them. Because your ancestral shield acted like a mirror made of reinforced steel, the curse bounced off you instantly. It maintained all its original velocity, picked up speed from the impact, and raced back to the only open door available, the person who sent it. The impact was immediate. The witch and the person who hired her didn't just feel a small disturbance. They were hit with an overwhelming force that left them paralyzed with fear. It happened in a split second. One moment, they were confident, waiting for your destruction. The next moment, the atmosphere in their room shifted violently. It wasn't a gradual change, it was a slam. They felt a sudden, freezing cold wash over them, a sign that the spirit of death they summoned had returned empty-handed and angry. The person who plotted against you likely felt a sudden drop in their stomach, a wave of nausea or an intense, irrational panic that paralyzed them right where they stood. It was the undeniable sensation of losing control. They realized, in that terrifying heartbeat, that they had made a grave mistake. They weren't dealing with a helpless victim. They had tried to strike someone who stands under the direct supervision of the divine. The spell didn't just fail, it backfired instantly, and they had no idea how to stop what was coming next. Stop right here. If you haven't subscribed yet, ask yourself why. Every time you search for clarity, every time you feel overwhelmed, God guides you to messages like this. Don't reject what heaven is trying to give you. Subscribe so you stay connected to the voice that lifts you when no one else does. This is the tragedy of their arrogance. The person who thought they had all the control, the one who hated you the most, was about to learn that they had overplayed their hand. They thought money could buy your downfall. They thought a secret ritual could rewrite your future, but they failed to account for your destiny. You see, you weren't just protected by chance, you were destined to survive. Your life path was written long before they ever decided to hate you. There are things you are meant to do, people you are meant to help, and a purpose you are meant to fulfill. No weapon formed against you could ever prosper because your existence is necessary for the greater plan. They were trying to delete a file that the universe had already locked. They were trying to move a mountain with a spoon. The moment they initiated that ritual, they didn't seal your fate. They sealed their own. The energy they gathered to break you has now surrounded them, and because they don't have the light or the protection you have, they have no defense against it. They are now standing in the rain of their own making, while you remain dry, untouched, and moving forward. They tried to dig a grave for you, but the laws of the universe forced them to fall into it themselves. The moment that death ritual backfired, the balance of power shifted permanently. The witch, who once walked with arrogance believing she held the keys to your life, now faced consequences she couldn't even comprehend. And the person who hired her? They were about to learn that in the spiritual realm there is no such thing as a hit and run. You cannot throw a grenade into a spiritual bunker and expect to walk away without shrapnel. What I am about to share with you are the 3 specific forms of justice that manifest when a death ritual collides with a chosen one. These aren't just theories, these are the patterns we see time and time again. When they tried to curse you, they inadvertently signed a contract accepting these penalties. 1. The financial collapse. The first form of justice often hits where it hurts the most: their resources. Let me tell you a story, a parable based on true events that happens more often than you think. There was a person who despised a chosen one at their workplace. This attacker couldn't stand the favor that was on their colleague's life, the promotions, the praise, the natural leadership. So driven by envy, they paid a significant amount of money to a spiritual worker to block the chosen one's progress. They wanted to see you fired. They wanted your streams of income to dry up so you would be forced to beg. They performed the ritual to bind your finances, but because you are covered by a divine covenant, that energy of poverty and loss hit your shield and bounced back instantly. Within 30 days, the attacker didn't just lose their investment in the ritual, they lost their livelihood. The very trap they set for you snapped shut on their own leg. They were called into an unexpected meeting and fired on the spot. But it didn't stop there. Their car broke down, draining their savings. Unexpected debts appeared out of nowhere. They tried to steal your bread, and in response, the universe emptied their entire pantry. They wanted you to know what it felt like to have nothing, so the spiritual law required them to experience that reality first. They are now scrambling to make ends meet, while you are walking into your season of abundance. 2. the health deterioration. The second form of justice is much more severe because it deals with the physical vessel. Remember, the ritual they performed was a death ritual. They were playing with life force energy. They wanted to see your health fail. They wanted you weak, bedridden, or worse. They sent energy designed to shut down your organs and drain your vitality. When that necrotic, sickness-filled energy returned to them, it had to manifest physically. We often see the attacker's health deteriorate rapidly and mysteriously. It starts with the same symptoms they tried to inflict on you: the fatigue, the body aches, the sleeplessness. But for them, it doesn't lift. It deepens. They might go to doctors who run every test imaginable, but come back with clear results. There is nothing medically wrong, they are told, yet they are in agony. They are wasting away. Their skin looks gray. Their eyes lose their light. This is spiritual sickness. Their body is literally rejecting the dark energy they tried to project onto you. It is slowly shutting down because it cannot house that much hatred without decaying. It is a terrifying thing to witness, but you must remember, this is not something you did to them. You didn't wish this on them. This is simply the radioactive fallout of the bomb they tried to detonate in your home. Tree, the public exposure. The final and perhaps most humiliating form of justice is the destruction of their reputation. The entire premise of their attack was secrecy. They smiled in your face, invited you to lunch, and called you friend, all while holding a dagger behind their back. They relied on the darkness to hide their true nature. But when the ritual backfired, it broke the cover of darkness. Divine protection includes a spotlight. Suddenly, their hidden hand is revealed for everyone to see. The mask slips. It happens in the most unexpected ways. Maybe they send a text message meant for someone else to the wrong group chat, exposing their plot. Maybe a third party overhears a conversation they were never meant to hear. Maybe they just crack under the pressure and start acting erratic, revealing their jealousy to the world. The person who tried to ruin your good name is suddenly the one being whispered about. They wanted to shame you, but they ended up wearing the garment of shame themselves. They are exposed as liars, manipulators, and traitors. Their credibility vanishes overnight. The community, the family, or the workplace sees them for who they really are, and they lose the one thing they valued most, their social standing. This is the ultimate correction. They tried to paint you as the villain, but the universe unveiled them as the architect of their own destruction. Type 4144 if you believe divine justice always finds its way. Your hands are clean and your protection is active. Now that you know the truth, now that you understand the mechanics of the attack and the justice that has already been served, I want you to understand something fundamental. Nothing and no one can break you. You are stronger than you have ever realized. You might feel battered, you might feel tired from the spiritual warfare, but look at where you are standing. You are still here. The ritual that was designed to take you out didn't even scratch the surface of your soul. You were never meant to fall, and the universe has made sure of that. It is time for a massive shift in your perspective. For a long time you may have asked, why me? Why am I always under attack? Why can't people just leave me alone? Today we are burying that victim mindset forever. You are not a victim. You are a celestial warrior. The attack didn't happen because you are weak. It happened because you are powerful. Darkness does not waste ammunition on empty targets. If you weren't a threat to their negativity, they wouldn't have spent a dime trying to stop you. The very fact that they organized a death ritual against you is the greatest compliment they could have given you. It proves that your light is so blinding, so transformative, and so undeniable that they felt they had to extinguish it just to feel comfortable in their own shadows. But carrying the weight of these attacks can leave spiritual debris. Even though the shield held, you might still feel the phantom pains of the arrows that hit your armor. So right now, we are going to clear that energy. I want to do a quick activation with you to remove any lingering heaviness. Wherever you are, if it is safe to do so, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep, slow breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. Visualize your back. In the spirit realm, This is often where the arrows of betrayal land. Imagine you can see those arrows, the gossip, the jealousy, the curses, the bad intentions. They are stuck in your outer energy field like old, rusted metal. Now visualize a hand of pure white light reaching down. This is the hand of your divine protection. See it pulling those arrows out, one by one. They don't hurt coming out. It feels like a relief. As each arrow is removed, watch it crumble into gray dust and blow away in the wind. It has no power over you anymore. Now imagine a pillar of golden light descending from the sky. It surrounds you completely. This is your wall of fire. It is warm, it is safe, and it is impenetrable. Feel it sealing up any cracks in your aura. Feel it recharging your battery. You are not drained anymore. You are overflowing. Open your eyes. That heaviness you felt, it's gone. You have reset the atmosphere. You are walking in new power now. Every day you might face struggles. You might face enemies who don't understand your path. But the truth is, you are protected, you are guided, and you are destined for greatness. You have a security detail that never sleeps. When you shine, the darkness might try harder to snuff you out. But it will never succeed because the source of your light is eternal. You are chosen. Do not let anyone make you doubt your value or your safety. You have survived the worst they could throw at you, and you are still standing tall. Before you go, chosen one, don't forget. The fact that you made it to the end of this message means something. Your spirit needed this. Don't walk away without subscribing. It costs nothing, but it means everything for the journey God is taking you on. Join the family. Your breakthrough might be in the next video. The battle isn't just about surviving, though. It is about thriving. You need to keep your spiritual immune system strong. If you want to keep learning how to navigate this life as a chosen one, and how to amplify your divine protection so that no weapon ever prospers, make sure you subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. We are building a community of warriors here, and you belong with us. And if you want to understand the specific mechanics of how your spirit guide warns you before an attack even happens, click on the next video appearing on your screen now. Together, we will discover how your spiritual protection operates on a deeper level. I'll see you there.